So Patrick, I want to throw maybe it's a belief that I have at you and just kind of see how you react to it. And I believe that humility is a superpower. And the reason that I believe that is because in my consulting and just in my career, the most effective leaders I've come across are the people that reached their leadership position truly because of merit. And it wasn't strictly like subject matter expertise or even relationships. It was because they were just really good at understanding people and how to work with them. And some of that involved forsaking their own ego in the place of thinking about, okay, how can I as a leader be more helpful to my team? And part of that is recognizing that that it's not all about me. And yet that's not universal. I've met plenty of CEOs who have enormous egos, and I almost feel bad for some of the people that are part of their organizations because they really have to cover for them. But do you think there's merit in that, or do you feel like, or what is it about, truly effective leadership that stands out?
Well, yeah, I would agree that humility is a critical component. When I was writing this book, The 5-Week Leadership Challenge, I start off talking about a story. And actually the whole book is stories. It's different leadership stories and experiences and helping people to do that. And the reason I wrote the book that way is because somebody told me when I was in a conference in China and stepping up on a stage, after I was done with the presentation, he walked up to me. And this is somebody I really respected. Like, this person has had stages everywhere in the world. They're just great. People love their books and all these type of things. And he said to me, "Where do you get all the stories?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "Well, you just tell a lot of stories in your presentations." And I really struggle with that sometimes. And I'm getting to your point about humility, because I think stories are a great way to convey lessons and experiences. But sometimes we tell the stories because we want to make it all about us, right? And other times we tell the stories because the story is a vehicle to help people write their own story. So from my perspective, even when it comes to writing a book or talking about different examples and things, I'm always trying to think to myself, why am I telling this story? Or why am I sharing this idea? Is it to make myself feel good or look good? Or is it to use it as a vehicle for somebody else to do something? So I have a tagline in my own head around the book. I always say, use my stories to write your story, type of thing. So my point is that, if you're standing up and you're always talking and you're never listening to your people and you always think you have the answer and you're going to have them do it the way you want to, and it's all about you and it's all about, just puffing your chest out and saying how wonderful you are, you're missing the point of leadership altogether, in my opinion. Thankfully, people like Brene Brown have been talking so much about vulnerability. Well, it's hard to be vulnerable if you're not a bit humble, right? And those kind of go hand in hand in my mind, because being vulnerable, as she would say, is really brave and bold. But it takes a fair amount of humility to go, let me tell you about the things I screwed up in life. But that's the way you tell a story in ways that help people. So I think that, you're right. Humility, I hadn't framed it this way, but it is a superpower. Mike, I'm probably going to steal that phrase going forward a little bit, but I'll make sure I give you credit. But it is a superpower, because ultimately, and I guess you look at what's your definition of leadership? Like, why do you see yourself choosing to lead? From my experience, I've kind of latched onto the definition of leadership is seeing the worth and potential in someone and speaking it to them so clearly that they start to see it in themselves. That's leadership, right? And that's not my definition. That's Stephen R. Covey wrote that definition years ago. But if I could see the worth and potential in somebody, well, first of all, that means I got to set myself aside and try to tap into what is their worth and potential, what's in them, because sometimes they don't even see it, and then help them bring it to the forefront.